Just like Saddam had babies in incubators when they were throwing the babies out of the incubators and clubbing their heads. Now admitted a total lie. Just like WMDs in Iraq. All lies. And here it is, Al-Qaeda pouring in out of Saudi Arabia. Give me a document cam shot, please. Libya being overrun by Al-Qaeda. Look at that nice young man there with his ski mask on. Nice person. Of course, here's our article came out before theirs. U.S. government backs Libyan Al-Qaeda while hyping terror attacks inside the U.S. And that's the big news now in the New York Times today. Bracing for Gaddafi to hit us with terror. He might actually try it. But more likely, the globalist will simply activate some sleeper cells of useful idiots or actual operatives. They'll blow some stuff up, and the TSA will say, see, we're putting you in the naked body scanners. We're setting up highway checkpoints. We've got all the local police trained for civil emergency. That's the code word, buzzword for martial law. See, we told you. And then, oh, we've got to invade. How dare Gaddafi hit Chicago at the Sears Tower, now owned by Larry Silverstein. How dare him hit L.A.? How dare him hit New York? How dare him hit Dallas? How dare him? Don't worry, the Marines just so happen to be off the coast in their giant amphibious attack systems that offload the hovercraft and the rest of it. They're ready to invade for America, Team America. Oh, yeah. We're going to get those guys. Meanwhile, Gaddafi defeated the Al-Qaeda, Egyptian, Saudi Arabian-backed forces, but it doesn't matter. We're bracing right now for Gaddafi. And everybody's hearing on the news, that dirty rat's going to try to hit us with an Al-Qaeda. Meanwhile, Al-Qaeda works for the globalist. They get to take over countries. They launch them on. They start wars with the Russians with them. In 1979, they start wars. You're not told about it until 83. They start wars with the Serbs with them. And if you defend yourself, it doesn't mean the Serbs were angels. It doesn't mean Gaddafi's a good guy. The point is it's part of a larger operation. And people are given this false moral reason. But then meanwhile, U.S. Army kill teams posing with the dead women and children. It's so manly. It's not a sad thing when you accidentally kill a kid. No, it's something to be proud of. In fact, you kill them on purpose. And then you pose with the dead little boy, their bloody body, lifting the head up, smiling there with that dead corpse in civilian clothes. Just like Private Bruckheimer said, we go into villages and we kill the babies. We kill the women. And the Army comes out, the Pentagon comes out on Fox News, 2002, and says, well, only in certain villages. And those guys are all coming back to be cops and TSA workers. An army of darkness, an army of hell. And don't worry, it's now come out in federal court, Blackwater in Iraq, huge coke parties, men running around naked together, running around naked outside in major downtown areas, firing into homes, into cars, and just orgies of bloodletting. The Iraqis reported it at the time. They said, who are these people? Is this the army of Satan? And yes, it is the army of Satan. America, the biggest user of drugs, the biggest user of porn, the biggest divorce rate, everything degenerating into pure evil, and everyone just loving it and worshiping the football and the sports, and the dirtier the comedy, the better, just debasing everything so we can be turned into servile, mindless, gibbering, atomized animals who can't defend each other, who don't have rudders, who don't have compasses intellectually or morally or spiritually, who can't communicate, who won't stand up for each other, who laugh at videos of cops beating people to death or shooting citizens in the back. Total judgment being prepared to be poured out as America begs to be destroyed. And don't worry, the bankers know how to deliver judgment. God always delivers his people into the hands of the wicked as judgment. You want judgment? You think evil, sexy, and cool? We are going to get what the Iraqis got tenfold in different ways. The radiation, the fluoride in the water, the poison, the deadly vaccines. You think the globalists pouring out death and dropping fire on men, women, and children's heads and lining children up to murder them, and UN troops in every country caught murdering and raping children, it constantly comes out in the news. You think these armies of hell are going to stop? No. They're abused, breathing DU, running around demonically, enjoying their own destruction. It's a spirit of trampling and being trampled upon. A servile spirit of weakness and defeat and the dull, burning eyes of evil. That's what you want. That's what you get. This is what you want. This is what you get. This is what you want. Depression, pain, suffering, cancer rates up by 3,000%, diabetes up by over 1,000% and growing, juvenile onset of brain disorders, people getting Alzheimer's when they're 30, your neighbors dying to your left and right, disease spreading, allergens in the food, GMO, death, destruction, pain, judgment, war, fire, stench, rotten bodies. You want it, you've got it. What Hitler gave you, you're going to get it. What Stalin gave you, you're going to get it. What Mao gave you, you're going to get it. You want it, they're going to give it to you. You love laying down to corruption. You love giggling about it. You love thinking it's funny. You love deception. You love being deceived. They've got greater deceptions for you. They've got greater scams for you.
Due to the extreme conditions from the Japanese earthquake and the fallout of depleted uranium, HempUSA.org recommends new important products that are loaded with iodine, microplant powder, Green Life kelp powder, raw unprocessed red palm oil, and our 10% roll-on clear iodine that heals the skin and naturally puts iodine back into your entire body. Call 908-691-2608 or visit us at HempUSA.org today.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit, then carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Daddy, I'm hungry.
That little girl will get fed, for now. But what if people like Glenn Beck are right about the threats we face? If the U.S. dollar loses its status as the global reserve currency, prices on the things you need most will skyrocket. Food may be unaffordable, or worse, unavailable. Earthquakes, economic turmoil, continuing unemployment, rampant inflation, and even threats of terrorism are all reasons to let the experts at Ready Reserve Foods help you with a long-term food storage plan. Ready Reserve Foods has been a premier supplier of long-term storage foods for 37 years. Their unique process assures the highest quality long-term food storage available worldwide. Their products have a shelf life of 25 years, and a year's supply of quality food for 2 people only takes up about as much space as a refrigerator for a fraction of what you now pay at the grocery store. You owe it to your family to find out more from Ready Reserve Foods. Call today for their free full-color catalog at 1-800-453-2202. That's 1-800-453-2202.
America, you've been warned. For weeks, we've been warning you about a single event we believe will happen in the next 12 months that will shake the very foundations of our nation. We've told you about the video that details this shocking prediction. So far, over 6 million people have watched this free video online. Have you? Again, this big event has nothing to do with war or the stock market, yet it could change everything about your normal way of life. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your family. Could this really happen? Well, the man who created this video has been right about many predictions in his career. He was among the first to predict the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. If you haven't taken time to watch this free video, do it right now. You may never think about America the same way again. You can find the free video at endofamerica3.com. Again, that's www.endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
Never buy home canning jar lids again. No kidding. When you buy Tadler reusable canning lids once, you'll never buy canning lids ever again. Safely store emergency preparedness foods for years. Traditional metal lids are single-use throwaways containing BPA. But Tadler reusable canning lids are guaranteed to last a lifetime when used as designed for home canning. Tadler lids are made with a USDA and FDA-approved food-grade plastic, safe for direct food contact, and contain no BPA. Tadler lids are dishwasher safe, usable with standard pressure or water bath canning, eliminate food spoilage from acid corrosion, fit standard standard mason jars, are indefinitely reusable, and are proudly made in the USA. Place orders at reusablecanninglids.com or call 1-877-747-2793. 877-747-2793. Call 877-747-2793 or go to reusablecanninglids.com. That's reusablecanninglids.com for Tadler reusable canning lids, the original since 1976.
Do you realize how deadly dangerous it is when shows like 24 in the last 8 years glorified torture? When the media pushed it, when Rumsfeld talked about how great it was, when Bush wrote a book last year bragging about it, they are selling you on evil so that you will accept being part of an evil empire. And so you will accept your neighbors being abused and yourself being abused. They are destroying every basic protection against oppression and slavery. Things are serious, focused, hardcore. Forefathers understood. They'd been through oppression. They'd been through a war against the greatest empire. I'm getting chills right now. It's so sad how far we've slumped. The lies about how this is humanitarian, about how Gaddafi was going up against peaceful crowds, when on record it was NATO, British, French, U.S.-backed special forces in there commanding Al-Qaeda out of Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Not even debated. And now, I mean, there's Al-Qaeda, who was used against the Serbs, used against the Russians, being used again. And the public doesn't even put two and two together. It's in mainstream news, CNN, London Telegraph, as a footnote. Going back 4 years ago, and then again 2 years ago, the White House put out public statements saying they were using 4 rebel groups on the eastern border of Iraq with Persia, with Iran, to launch attacks in the country. And that U.S. Special Forces were on the ground in Iran. Acts of war. Telling us that Iran's going to launch terror attacks on us. This isn't our government. This isn't our military. Your son or daughter may be in the military, may be a great person. It'd be like a nice person who was German in the German military in 1940. Okay? The country is run by crooks. It's not America doing this. And we better hit our knees and repent. And also publicly say, not in our name, what's going on. Yeah, Gaddafi's been in power for 41 years. He looks like a goofball. But he's a strong man who's handed out millions of guns to his people. He's preparing for invasion. They're clearly got an invasion set. There's special forces there, admittedly, for over a month. The invasion forces are off the coast. And the way they're acting is they may stage a terror attack and blame it on Gaddafi, and then legitimize a crackdown domestically and more police state as we go into the Depression. What did Rand Corporation say 3 years ago that Paul Watson wrote about? Made big national news because we're some of the only people that will actually read government reports and write about it. Rand Corporation said in the next few years, to get out of the Depression, we need a large war bigger than Iraq, a full regional war. How do they do it? They fund radical groups who, I'm sure have beefs with the government. These are corrupt Arab governments, every one of them a dictatorship, either whether it's run by royalty or an oligarchy. And they fund them in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in Egypt, in Libya, in Jordan, friends and enemies. And by the way, the Bahrainian government, big allies with the West, are now saying it's a Western plot. Well, of course it's a Western plot. They want that whole place on fire.